Hey, we are the Trailer Island Podcast. It's another Wednesday. It's another episode, and I'm humped. No,
we're keeping that. We're keeping that. I don't know about you, Alex, but I'm pumped for this week.
I'm so pumped. No, we could. Nah.
Oh no, we're keeping that.
We
are keeping that. If I've talked about three hairy men going at it, we're keeping that.
I'm not humped.
What are you, Alex?
You're excited.
I am pumped for this week.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm redder than the sunburn I got last Friday.
Just don't talk about fluffy ducks this week either. Otherwise you might say something else.
I can't believe I just said that.
Yeah.
And you're making me not start this again.
Yeah. Welcome to Trailer Island Podcast, where we compare films' trailers to the final product and see how it turned out.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And guess what? I'm pumped.
I'm also pumped.
Yeah.
Are you pumped, Alex?
Yes.
Great.
All right.
Oh, yeah. We're all pumped then.
This week we're doing a new release.
Yes, it's always exciting.
One of the very rare releases to cinema we're getting these days. But I think we're all a bit excited to see this one. Especially those of us that enjoy a good John Wick film, you know?
But it's not John Wick, is it?
No, it's very much in the same vein, though.
Yeah.
Or maybe we can debate that.
I think, I've got a few things to say about this, about how I feel about it. But I'm definitely pumped, as it were. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't think I've introduced a film in a really long time.
Yeah, get to it.
Alex, would you like to introduce this week's film?
This week, we're doing Nobody.
So they took maybe $20 and an old watch? Mr. Manson, did you even take a swing?
No.
Could have taken her, Dad.
Heard you had some excitement last night. I wish they'd have picked my place, you know?
Why didn't you take him out?
I was just trying to keep the damage to a minimum.
Yeah, how's that working out for you?
You okay? Because you don't look okay.
There's a long dormant piece of me that so very badly wants out.
What are you still doing here, old man?
I'm gonna f*** you up. It's been a hell of a day.
I can see that.
For 12 years, I worked for some very dangerous people. Everybody get to the basement.
What is happening?
Don't call 911. I used to be what they call an auditor. The last guy anyone wants to see at their door. Because it meant you didn't have long to live. But I left it behind to start a family. Hey! I might have overcorrected.
When you left, you abandoned a certain debt that needs repayment. And your creditor is aware of your resurrection.
They came after my family.
They stole my kitty cat bracelet.
And you don't do that. Give me the goddamn kitty cat bracelet!
You look like shit, Dad.
You should see the other guys.
Who the f are you?
Me? I'm nobody.
In theaters only February 26th.
Now, you'd think that was a John Wick trailer, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's got a very similar premise.
It
Very
does.
similar tone.
Very similar tone. I would suggest, and this is going to be, I think, a big topic for discussion about this film, is you get a sense of the comedy in that trailer. when he's yelling at a guy who's got at gunpoint, give me back the kitty cat bracelet. How is that not funny?
Yeah.
It's hilarious. Yeah. And I think this film is legitimately very funny. I had a few really big belly laughs during this.
Yeah.
And I think that's intentional. I should say, I think that's intentional. This film is deliberately funny.
It is. I agree with you. Now, that trailer is actually... I think something changed in the story between that trailer being released and this film, because there's a few misleading lines in that trailer.
Okay, sure.
Because the whole thing about the debt being incurred, the people who've let you go, I don't think that's a conversation I've heard in the film.
No, I don't remember that.
And also your creditor is aware of your resurrection.
That's definitely not in the film.
Because in that implies in this trailer that he worked for crime.
Yes.
He did this as a criminal thing. But this film, it doesn't have that element at all. He's more of a person in an official capacity.
Yeah, sort of like working for the government almost.
Yeah.
Or even tries to allude to the past coming back to haunt him, and it really isn't that in what you think that sense of the phrase is.
Because that sounds more like a John Wick thing.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
And I've got a few problems with his motivation in this.
Well, should we get into the premise?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's get into the premise.
Okay, it is about oh god, I've forgotten his name. I just call him Nobody the entire time. It was, Bob Odenkirk plays an everyman.
Yep.
An everyman stuck in a dead end job with a sort of a loveless marriage, who is, I would say, frustrated with the world.
Well, his name's Hutch for starters.
Hutch, that's right. And Hutch, he and his family are the victims of a home invasion.
Yeah.
In which the invaders steal a kitty cat bracelet, and Hutch decides he's going to delve into his former life and retrieve the kitty cat bracelet.
For the sake of his daughter.
And hijinks ensue.
Yes.
Well, there's the whole thing in there, which is in the trailer, is that you see him with a golf club about to basically kill this person, and he stops himself.
Yeah.
And he goes, and because he, as he says, wants to minimize the damage. I thought that all played out really well, but you know that it's not going to be that way for the rest of the film, because the trailer kind of tells you hijinks will ensue shortly.
Yeah. That particular scene, though, I thought they rationalized that a lot better in the film.
Yeah.
He doesn't hit them because he sees that the two home invaders are both desperate, and the gun they're holding is empty. He obviously doesn't retrieve the kitty cat bracelet and decides to spare their lives.
Yeah.
But I think it's a more human moment.
Yeah.
And I think that probably more speaks to the quality of film. When we're talking about a comparison with John Wick, I would call this a more human film as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he still sort of ends up, again, the whole Liam Neeson thing, him and his, set of particular skills, he does end up being pretty indestructible, but that's the fun of the movie.
Yeah, but he gets beat down.
He does get beaten up quite significantly.
Yeah.
I think he gets shot a couple of times, doesn't he?
He gets stabbed as well.
Gets stabbed. It's a kind of fun beat them up violence where things look really painful, but that's... It's hard to explain, but it's kind of fun for that reason.
I would explain it as in John Wick also gets beat up. Right?
Yeah.
But you don't feel the pain. He gets stabbed and he walks it off. In this, because Bob Odenkirk is such an emotive actor, when he gets stabbed, you feel it.
Yes.
You feel it. Every time someone lands a punch, you go, oh, ow.
Yeah, and there are a few, there's a bit, I think, where he's fighting someone with a bat and then he breaks the bat in half and then stabs them with one half of the bat. And it's like, that looks so painful, but at the same time, it's that fun kind of like, in a wrestling match, and you go, give him the chair kind of. That's essentially what it comes down to, I think.
And they're all faceless goons at the end of the day.
Yeah,
well.
like you're never meant to question, do these people have families or anything? They're just like battle droids. They're indisposable. So they're disposable, and there are loads of them until the film ends, basically.
Oh my God! You killed Glenn, call his wife and children.
Yeah, the whole Austin Powers thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's basically just one man going on a rampage. But unlike John Wick, we get to meet some other players on his side.
Yeah.
In this one, namely his father,
Christopher Lloyd,
played brilliantly by Christopher Lloyd, who is just so good in this.
So good.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have, I forget the character's name, but his mate or his half brother. It's never quite clear. It's half brother.
Yeah.
And so he gets a bit of reinforcement at certain points, which was a lot of fun.
His half brother played by RZA from the Wu-Tang Clan.
Oh, yeah.
Is that how you say that? I've been saying RZA the entire time.
RZA.
RZA, okay.
I haven't seen that film.
I am down on the street with the kids.
I know all the rest of the raps, but I don't know Wu-Tang Clan.
It's I'm curious to hear what issues you had with this, Alex, because I went. It was great to go back to the cinema, that's just always great. But I was in there and everyone in there was just laughing, having a great, grimacing at the right moments. There's a particularly gruesome incident with a straw that I struggled to watch at a certain point. But but at the same time, you have that kind of laugh, like, oh, I can't believe that they thought to do this and they execute it so well.
Well, I think I want you to turn me around on this.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. When I left the cinema, this was a 5 for me.
Right.
Okay. But then I thought about it a little bit more and I found that the story behind it made me a little bit less compassionate to his cause, to Hutch's cause. Because in this, he could have walked away at any point and everything would not have happened. But in this, he is motivated by violence. He wants these things to happen.
Yeah, there's a moment where he...
Judged by his voiceover that you hear.
Yeah, well, there's a bit where he basically insults this crime boss in this crime boss's club, and says, all right, that's it, we're walking away kind of thing, goes and sits in his car, and he sits there like with his fingers crossed going like, please come out, I want to have a car chase. But I think my argument to that, I do see what you're saying. He definitely wants to beat up these people. He's not like it's a fight. Yeah. It's not like he's going, I must protect my family. He goes, no, I'll send my family away so I can literally kill everyone.
Yeah.
The thing that sets everything off is in this bus scene. They've got a bunch of drunk goons who are protecting, I guess they're the protectors of this Russian guy. And it's sort of insinuated that they're going to assault this young woman that's on the bus.
Yeah.
And he does the classic, the driver gets put out of the bus, does the watchman thing. I'm not stuck in here with you. You're stuck in here with me.
It's all sort of like slow and deliberate, isn't it? You sort of
when you're watching, it's like, oh yes, get hype. But he instigates the violence in this. We're in John Wick. The violence comes to him and he has to defend himself. But in this case, he's the one bringing the violence to these people. He does the right thing by trying to defend this girl. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, yeah.
But, then it gets a little bit later on where in that same scene, he's no longer in the bus, but then he goes back in.
He goes back in for round 2, yeah. And then hurts them much more than he did the first time round.
Yeah.
Well,
okay,
let me keep talking. All right.
And then... the classic, then the crime boss finds out about it and he's like, I must defend my family. And that seems reasonable.
Yeah.
That this guy wants to be like, you've attacked my brother, you've hurt him. I'm going to defend his honor or whatever. How he feels about his brother is irrelevant. He's doing this because he has been attacked.
So I think you actually raised an incredibly good point, Alex. You are correct. However, my argument to this is that the movie simply doesn't care. The idea is that much like Hutch when he's sitting in his car with his fingers crossed waiting for a car chase, the film invites you as an audience to just go, let's just have fights.
Yeah.
In a way. Not in a... Yeah, it's not trying to incite you to like leave the cinema and go start beating people up. But it's that fun, that John Wick style of fun, where people are getting hit by chairs and fire extinguishers and it just gets more and more ridiculous to the point of just going like, all these people are just dead instantly. But it's this kind of fun, like watching a wrestling match kind of fun. And it doesn't really care that the motivation's not... The only excuse we've really got for him going on this rampage is that he thinks this kitty cat bracelet of his daughter's has been stolen, and it turns out, spoiler alert, that it actually isn't stolen anyway.
Oh, no, it goes deeper than that, Matt.
Does it?
Yeah. For the first half an hour of this movie, I'm going to try and probably try and sway you.
Okay.
We get a picture of a man who is frustrated with life.
Yes.
Who is consistently looking back in his previous life and wishing he was back there. He's stuck in a loveless marriage. He's stuck in a dead-end job. But what he was doing before was exciting him. It was making a difference. And
but he wanted to get out.
Yeah, but people can change their mind. And I think you are right in the sense that he may be a little bit of an unlikable character, but I think that's why he's a good character. It's because he is pursuing a goal. And the goal is to rekindle some of that spark and that fire. And yeah, he's doing it through ultra violent means. and the director is saying all of his actions are sort of rational in the filmic sense of the word, because these guys on the bus are rowdy and gross, and you do feel Hutch's frustration when he comes upon two home invaders and he doesn't feel like he can attack them because they are sad individuals. And so when that frustration gets taken out on the guys on the bus, I'm sitting there, I'm rooting for him. I'm like, yeah, take your frustration out. And I think that's what's going to make this film pretty popular with the 35 to 50s.
Well, it's funny you bring that up, because I think his character, saying he's a slightly unlikable character, really he's just going through his midlife crisis. This is how he's dealing with, because I think throughout the film we see more and more he's starting to, have, he's sipping whiskey, he's got his man cave at one point. I think it's just him. It's what happens, I think, when someone who used to be like a guy who does the dirty work for the government and all the kind of footwork, your Liam Neeson characters, for example, has a midlife crisis. They just go, I'm going to go and any excuse I can to beat up some drunken goons who, poke fun of the innocent girl on a bus or this or that. Yeah, but he's going to take that opportunity. And I think that's why the movie's fun, is you understand it's him trying to enjoy himself in a weird, perverse way.
I think the problem I had with it is that it did feel too much like John Wick 1. There were too many of those story beats that I...
Well, the trailer show, from the producer who brought you John Wick, they're not hiding it.
No, they're not. But I think it was a little too on the nose.
It didn't bother me. Because again, I think the thing that differs for me in this film, and don't get me wrong, there are jokes in John Wick, like the pencil line, he killed a guy with a pencil. But I just think that this film, John Wick is trying to be a hard action film. This film is a hard action film, but it's trying to be a comedy, and it is very funny.
The dialogue in this is much better than John Wick.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
The dialogue in John Wick is very stilted. I never really
But that's just
understood
Keanu Reeves, though.
You leave Keanu Reeves alone.
Yeah.
I had a little problem with the wife's character.
Connie Nelson, yeah.
Yeah, she played perfectly, beautifully. Like, I'm not denying that at all. But I was sold the thing of, they are now stuck in, they've got kids, they're in the day to day, they don't have time for romance with one another. And I was flip-flopping. I wasn't too sure about it, because on the one hand, she sort of reaches out to him when she's obviously aware of his past, and that perhaps they teamed up at points to help him do his job. But she seems to, the film implies a bit that she only wants to reach out to him at an emotional level when he becomes violent again.
Yeah, it's interesting.
And that felt a bit shallow to me and a bit unfair to her character. But at the same time, that does come shortly after he, for obviously what seems like a long time, reaches out to her emotionally, saying, "You know what? I'm not happy with where I'm at, and I want us to change." So I wasn't sure what the film wanted us to think about that.
Because that moment is quite nice when he does extend his hand out to her and says, "I'm sorry, I've been distant," kind of thing. Because I didn't have this issue that you have, because of that scene. I thought, well, no, he's the one that's turned to her and said, let's acknowledge that we've not been doing great at this recently, and let's try and turn it around. For me, I think it's more a coincidence, because he's gained his confidence back now that he's sort of relapsing into his old violent ways. He's got this confidence back to actually open up a bit more emotionally to her. And I think it's not so much that she's fallen back in love with him again because he's beating the living daylights out of people, but I think it's because he's just found his confidence. And I think that's more perhaps where that's coming from. Or at least that's sort of my read on it, is that he's a little more sure of himself. He's got more direction. Because, we see him, he misses the bin in the kitchen. He keeps burning stuff when he's cooking stuff. And it's sort of like that kind of ineptness, I think, that he's just stuck with. And he loses that as he gets more confident. And I think he's the one that makes the effort. And I think that's what opens her eyes a bit to, hey, he's trying to, do something about this.
Would you say that the wife is maybe a thinly written character?
I don't know that she's thinly written. I thought that she was actually quite a solid character. I don't think that the reaching out so easily from her perspective was done with enough reasoning for her to change, to flip on a coin that much. But then again, this film isn't about their relationship.
No.
It's about the obtuse violence. Essentially, what I felt, I was thinking about it. I was like, this is very murder porny. Like,
It is a little bit, yeah.
It's just throwing faceless goons and because it has got quite a good family story behind it, I thought these guys might have families. But then the comedy that plays out during it, you're like, I don't care.
Well, yeah, exactly. Talking about the goons and stuff, we should talk about the stunts in this.
Yes.
Because the fights are...
This is absolutely an ode to stuntmen.
I would agree.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, it's the stunts are terrific in this. But they're painful, like in a good way. Like you feel the pain. It's so well done. I particularly liked a fight scene in their family home. I thought that was...
Which one's that? Because I mean, there's the one when the two robbers rock up, and then there's one when Goon Squad rocks up.
When the big squad turn up and he sends his family down into his safe room.
Don't call 911.
Don't call 911. I thought that sequence was just fantastically well choreographed.
There's a bit that's in the bus, which I think they filmed potentially in a real bus. So
it looks pretty real.
This is basically stunt people and Bob Odenkirk as an actor acting out in this film. And the guy, Daniel Bernhardt, he is the guy in the bus, like the main, like I guess one of the main goons. He gets his teeth knocked out. He's like, "Is it bad? Is it bad?"
It's like blood. Just coming out.
He was his personal trainer for this film. He's a leading stunt guy,
right?
Yeah. So they're basically, it's a bit like, we're going to talk about Death Proof at some point. You've got stunt people acting in films, and this is the case in this. You've got people, so your stuntmen are the ones, there's no covering up.
Yeah, then we haven't got stuntmen training actors to do something. They literally just got the stuntmen doing it.
That's right.
Yeah.
I would like someone to confirm this, but I do believe Bob did his own stunts in this.
For the most part, he does have a stunt double.
Okay.
But for the most part, a lot of his stuff, like they apparently worked out for 2 years.
Not bad for Saul Goodman.
He's 58. I think.
Yeah, he's getting on years.
Something like that.
He looks pretty good in the movie.
He does a lot of that fight stuff himself.
It's pretty acrobatic, should we say.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, pretty acrobatic. But it never comes... Again, even though the movie is genuinely very funny, none of the violence ever comes across, I think, as slapstick. The violence never gets... Well, it does, but not...
Matthew. The last half hour of this film is Home Alone on steroids.
That's true.
I think you're getting into slapstick when you start sticking straws down people's throats.
Yeah, but I don't know if slapstick's the right word for it, though. It's funny, but it's not a clown falling over their own feet kind of thing.
It's instead of the brutality of John Wick, it's trying to punctuate it with just a little bit of humor.
It has good. It has very good beats of comedy.
Oh yeah,
throughout the violence, like you were saying before, there is all this crazy violence going on, and you're laughing your head off in the middle of it because of the things that they're able to do in it.
Exactly.
The wine bottle scene in that trailer, it's 3 seconds long, but it's the way he uses a wine bottle is just hilarious.
Yeah, there seems to be, I think Jason Bourne started it, but that sort of and it's terrific. But that trope of using everyday objects as lethal weapons,
I really love watching Jason Bourne beat someone almost to death with a magazine.
How do we feel about just the Russians being bad people again?
I'm a little sick of Russian bad guys. I won't lie. I am, but I felt. Well, he wasn't Russian though, was he?
Yeah.
Was he Russian? I thought he was some other European.
No, he's Russian.
He's Russian. Okay.
Well, because they say it's always the Russians or something like that. Because this film is directed by a Russian guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's his name? Ilya Naisula.
Right.
I probably got that. Naishula. I probably absolutely butchered that. But he did Hardcore Henry, which is a start to finish point of view action film. So I think this is almost a half American, half Russian film because a lot of the stunt people are Russian as well.
Again, the Russian thing more played into the John Wick vibes I was getting.
Yeah, and I think that's why I didn't like it. I thought, John Wick has Russians. Let's not have Russians this time. But I liked the. Well, he's not really a villain. Like you say, he's only acting to protect his own interests.
He's a villain.
But he
is a villain in the sense that he's a crime boss.
He's not a good person.
He puts on karaoke.
Yes.
I actually thought that was quite funny, all that stuff. I was like, this is actually very Russian.
I loved
what's going on right now.
His intro shot, which is from outside this club, crossing the road, inside the club, having a few drinks, and up onto stage as one continuous take was really cool. It looks great. And it's put together. I can't really fault the construction of it, to be honest.
No.
And if it makes me laugh as well, it's sort of ticking all the boxes for me.
I think it has to be building a universe.
I really hope they don't make another one. I think
Really?
Yeah. So I was talking to the friend I went with. Is obviously John Wick. I think they're still making more. They've made 3, and they're making more. To be fair, all the John Wick films have been pretty good. However, this film works it's so strong that if they make another one, I'm really worried they're just going to ruin it.
There's crossover talks already.
Oh,
Really?
no.
Yeah.
Oh, don't do that.
It's the same producer between the two films.
Yeah,
so.
I know, but the John Wick universe needs to be its own thing because
Yeah.
that's gotten a bit silly.
It has.
Those films have gotten very silly.
But John Wick 3, however good it is, the story is it's starting to bog down.
Yeah.
The
But then
film.
again, are we there for the story?
No,
we're
not
there
really.
for the action, aren't we? And
Yeah.
this, I was thinking about it because as I was watching it, I was thinking no sequel to this is going to be as good as this.
Yeah.
because we now know what he's capable of, and he builds that. It's like it's a character reliving or rekindling skills that they have.
Yeah. Well,
and they don't start out that way, but they're going to have to start out that way in this because we have an expectation now.
So, like you say, if they make a sequel, like this film goes to 100, so I don't know where you could go from that afterwards. It's got a car chase. It's got all this parkour stuff, acrobatics. It's got everything.
The question in John Wick is no open-ended. It's what is John Wick capable of?
Yeah.
This is a close-end question. It's what is this middle-aged man capable of? And you see that in a 90-minute film.
Yeah.
Well, because in the John Wick universe, it just seems to the level of power that he's coming up against seems to just keep rising and rising and rising. And in this, is it just going to be another boss, like a bad crime guy? Is he going to come up against a former colleague? Like, what is it going to be? And I don't know, because you're discovering this as a character for the first time. And you're right, Matthew. Like, it's just not going to be as good.
The actor who plays the barber, who's kind of like a handler in this movie, I forget his name. I know he's in Harry Potter at one point, I think.
This gentleman is actually in Bond.
He is. He plays. It's not Tanner.
No, it is Tanner.
It is Tanner. He plays Tanner
in the Pierce Brosnan.
Yes, he does. He's very good in those. But yeah, I feel like his character, like you say, is definitely a setup for his character to return at some point. And I didn't like that. I want this film to be self-contained. The film is constructed with this wonderful bookend kind of flash-forward, flashback thing, which bookends it really nicely. I love the little joke with the cat. Like, that is such a lovely little signature joke. Well, not a signature joke, but a little signature at the end there with a little flourish. Like, the film is a self-contained package, and I loved that it was that. I don't get me wrong, if they make another one, I'll obviously go and see it, but I kind of hope they don't.
Yeah, I'm sort of in the same boat.
Maybe this one can just be a little nice standalone little surprise if you stumble across it and go, oh, what's this movie? Oh my God, this is incredible.
I think that's my aspirations for this film, is that it sort of does get forgotten.
And then rediscovered.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish I could watch it again for the first time. Because that surprise that we were talking about, that build-up of violence, is quite satisfying.
That's a really good point. You wish you could see it again for the first time.
Yeah.
It escalates to stupidity. Let's be honest.
Yeah. Well, there's a bit where they
silliness.
shoot steel rods into people, and it's like, at that point, it's like, well, this is just ridiculous. But you don't care because it's fun, but it's gruesome, and it makes you grimace and go, oh God, that looks so painful. But that's the fun of the movie.
Music's cool too.
Music was cool. Great use of classic rock and blues songs in there as well, which was really cool.
What are we going to give this out of 5?
Straws?
Straws?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Kitty cat bracelets.
Go with straws because it's a little bit more obscure. I'll go first, if I may. Like I said, it was a 5 when I left the cinema, but then I thought about it a little more, which was probably my own fault. How dare I have an individual thought? So I'm going to go with a 4. Because I enjoyed this film, but there are just some things about some of the writing that nagged me that I felt could have been ironed out just a little bit better. But in saying that, on the way back, I was talking to my wife, and I said to her, let's go home and do karate in the garage. Because you're just like, I'm pumped.
Yeah.
Like, this is so good. I just want to kick stuff and be like, yeah, look at me. And then you realize I actually don't have any fighting skills. So,
It's a bit like whenever I see Fury Road, I want to drive down the street screaming, witness me!
Yeah, exactly.
Right,
In this, I was just like, I'm going to punch a punching bag because it's cool. Yeah, so
Okay. Well,
great action film. a few dumb things. I was like, oh, I'm not buying it completely.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's a 4 from me.
Okay, if I may just follow on from your point about getting into that trap of thinking about the movie too much.
No.
I Oh, all right, now over to Steve. I think I am the opposite of you because I haven't thought about the plot at all. And I think I've deliberately stopped myself from doing that because it's loud noises, it's good, like just people being thrown across rooms and all this horrible contraptions they've made on the fly and, gruesome ideas of being able to kill people, really effectively and really quickly. It's a fun action film. I love the comedy. I've never seen an action film that's made me laugh so much.
Mm-hmm.
I loved just the comedy, but it didn't sacrifice the brutality of it, which I thought was somehow what a fine line to tread that is, and they've just nailed that. I love this. It's a 5. 5 straws from me.
Jesus. It'll be a 3 for me.
Oh, that's a surprise.
I really, really did enjoy it. There were some really great laugh out loud moments. That I gasped a couple of times, just the brutality. But it had just way too many shades of John Wick for me. Like it just, some of the plot elements were really way too reminiscent. And you don't help yourself when you're using Russians as the enemy once more. And when you're the sympathetic character trying to protect something that you love, whether it be your family or your dog. So a 3. I'm not sure if I'll ever sit down and actually rewatch this again. That's
interesting.
I was trying to consider, like, when would I sit down and actually sort of really want to watch this? And it might be after a season of Better Call Saul or something like that. But yeah. I think rewatchability is a little bit of an issue for me.
I'll watch it again.
Yeah, I'd watch it again. This would be a great film to sit down and watch. Like if you're a bloke, it'd be a film you'd watch with your dad. And just have a few beers, or get your mates around and do that. That's the movie. It is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what it is. Yeah.
I watched the trailer for this with my mum, and she was like, "Nah." Not watching it.
I don't know. I'm not sure if my mum would enjoy it, but I think she'd probably try and get through. There's a cat in it. So, I like cats. I enjoyed the cat. I wanted more of the cat.
Well, that's a solid 12 out of 15. You know what? That's a bit less than I thought that this film would get.
Okay, yeah, me too.
I was thinking it might be closer to a 13, 14.
Right. I just thought it was sort of middle of the range.
And that's the wonderful thing about the democracy that we have here, is that you can rate it however you want.
Yeah, don't worry, I'm looking into that. We'll fix that.
Is this democracy?
Manifest.
You've been trying to send me off to the glue factory for some time, yeah.
Oh. Well, someone has to make it work. So glue away, glue boy. We've been the Trailer Island podcast. You can find us wherever you get your podcast. Literally wherever you get your podcast, and we are there. Every Wednesday is a new episode. There's a huge back catalogue of episodes for you to watch. So go through, listen to them at your leisure, and let us know what you think. Give us some feedback. Give us a rating as well, wherever it is. But you can also contact us. contact@trailerisland.com.au. Submit a form via the website. Contact us on the Facebook page as well. There's plenty of options to get a hold of us. You might even get a personal response from Matthew. He does that,
Yeah, I'm very lonely.
Yeah. Messages on our Instagram.
Yeah, that's right. There is a Twitter, but that has long been abandoned, I think.
Island.
That's right. We haven't caught the guy who actually has the.
We should get
tag.
Hutch to track him down.
I'm waiting for him to strike again.
Yeah, sneaky, so sneaky. I've been Alex. I've been joined by
Matthew
and
the accountant.
Oh, sneaky. We've been the Trailer Island podcast. Good night.
Goodbye.
Meow. Do swidania.
Straw.
This is a Narrative Network podcast. Podcast.